So you have taken the time to finish the front of your sculpture, you've checked on all the sides of your sculpture, and you have done the back of your sculpture. So the next part I am going to talk about is how to leather harden or stiffen up your sculpture and how to put additions on. So in my case, if you remember from my drawings there, I am going to put a little monster up here in the drawing. Right here on this little guy. So I'm going to attach the pencil and eyeball and sculpt in some little teeth and a hand. So I'm going to talk about how to do that. But first, I would like to talk about how to leather harden your sculpture. Now, notice that the sculpture, as I hold it, is not really like bending or falling apart. It is pretty stiff in nature. So in order to get your clay to this stiff part, and this goes for at school or at home, so if you'd like your clay to stiffen up a little bit, you got a couple different options. You can leave it out just to air dry for a couple hours if you're at home, and it will stiffen up a little bit. If you are at school, you can leave it overnight in one of the cupboards, or if you are in a hurry, you can grab a hair dryer and about 5 to 10 minutes on each side with a hair dryer, and you will notice that your clay is no longer like squishy, but it is stiff enough, and that is called leather hard. So if you like to get your clay leather hard, you could do one of those three things. Leave it out for a couple hours if you're at home, leave it overnight if you're at school in the cupboard, or you can use a hair dryer if you would like to. All right, so I would like to add some pieces and parts to my monster. So first thing I want to do is start carving in my monster. So give me a second and I'm going to go through and carve some of those things. All right, guys, as you can see here, I've made a little eyeball, some fingers, and my pencil, and I've carved out the mouth. And if you notice, I've carved out a little bit of my G over here. All right, now when your clay is leather hard, you are able to scoop out the holes a lot easier, so I can scoop it out. I'm going to leave some of these spaces still not all the way through, just because I want my sculpture to be a little bit stronger. But when it is leather hard, that is the time that you are able to actually cut all the way through your sculpture. Now, if I were just to leave these little bits and parts over here, like I just put them in there, they would fall out. As you can see, they easily came out. If I want something to actually like be stuck to the clay, you're going to need to get yourself a little bit of water, like so. You're going to want to grab any one of these little tools, and in the notes you are supposed to have read, there is a little method called slipping and scoring. And slipping and scoring is you making a little rough area in the clay. So I roughed up the clay there and I roughed up the clay here. Then I took a little water and a little clay and I made a little paste by mixing it up. It's almost like runny peanut butter. So I mixed a little water and a little clay together like runny peanut butter with my scrap clay. And I'm going to stick those two together. And now that I've stuck together, if you've ever seen tiling done on one of the home shows on the home improvement channel at home, it's almost like using like mortar or something to stick tile down, but it's called scoring and slipping. So if I want to stick my pencil now to my sculpture, I'm going to score up the back of where I want the pencil to be. I'm going to score up my sculpture where I want my clay to be. I'm going to mix up a little bit of this water paste stuff. So there you go, water paste. And it's slip. All right. So I'm going to put slip all over the back of this guy. And I'm going to stick it down like so. Make sure it's stuck down really nice and tight. All right, that goes there. All right, now I'm going to go in the process of sticking the fingers on. I'll be back in a second. All right, and there you guys can see by scoring and slipping, I am able to attach all of my little items, and they are not going to fall off my sculpture. I've taken a second to smooth them and stick them down, and they are all stuck in there. So in my next video, I'm going to show you kind of how to finish up there. But if you want to stick objects to your clay, you're going to first leather harden it. So stiffen it up by one of those 3 methods I mentioned. When it's leather hard, that's when you can do a little bit more carving out of the clay like you saw I do here. And when you're ready to stick extra little bits of clay on, remember you're going to score up the clay where you want them to go. And then you're going to make a little bit of paste with some water and some clay and make some slip. And you're going to use your slip to stick your project together. So that's how you score and slip.